3, 2, 1, 0, and liftoff. Liftoff. Americans return to space as Discovery clears the tower.
Welcome back to TTMTrades. As usual, I want to thank all my followers. Currently got 1,200 followers, and I appreciate every single one of you. I really do. YouTube channel TTMTrades. You can find me on Twitter, YouTube, Stock Twits, the whole nine. So look, this week's top 3. I did a lot of research. I mean, I ran my scanners. I looked for stocks with potential, stocks that have already consolidated and are due for breakouts. I did a lot of research for these. Okay, so top 3 this week, plus 1 is definitely going to be, let me go to APHB, CHF, LODE, and PGH. All right, so we're going to jump right into it. And we're gonna be a little detailed about all of them. All right, so what we have here is APHB. I know a lot of lines, all right, but as you can see, one of the important things you want to pay attention to is you have the 200 period moving average coming down, which is a very, very important moving average, and the 50 period moving average. So you had this breakout, drop down, had to gap down first and foremost, so we could possibly fill this gap. That's first and foremost, but the big thing is it found support on the 50 period moving average, as you can see here. Support here, came back up, went below it, but closed above, closed below it just a little bit on light volume. Support, and what we're having now is a breakout above this 200 period moving average. So as we have this breakout, it's going to be very, very bullish, and as you can see on the days of selling, the volume is very low, and on the days of accumulation right here, pretty high, but they're pretty low also. And then you had on the breakout a very high spike in volume, all right, which shows a lot of interest, and that the bears are no longer in control because they cannot push this past the 50 period moving average. Now let's zoom in just a little bit. All right, so now that we're going to have this breakout, big things we want to look at is on the Bollinger Bands, we have these areas of resistance. All right, now the Bollinger Bands will always match up to past resistant areas back in prior months and past support areas. All right, so the Bollinger Bands kind of already draw the trend lines for you. All right, so looking at this, we're going to have this breakout above the 200 period moving average. Price areas we're going to retest, as you can see, 138 immediately because that fills the gap, 159, and then 179. There's plenty of room for the RSI to run. All right, another thing to look at is the RSI is in this bullish zone. What do I mean a bullish zone? Anytime a trend, excuse me, I drew a line. Anytime a trend is very bullish, the RSI will react to that trend by staying in between, they say 90 and 40, but I use 80 because anytime the RSI ticks all the way up to 90 is very extreme and oversold, and it's going to pull back immediately. So that's very rare. So I use 80, as you can see, between the 90 and 70, and 40, the green line right here, between the 50 and the 30 period moving average. Now, anytime a price action is in a very bullish state, the price action will stay above 40, and it will use 40 and 50 as support areas, and it will not drop below 40. So if you can see here, had that little slight uptrend here where it consolidated, it dropped down, found support right on that 40, came up for a breakout, found support on that 50 period line, well, no, 50 RSI, came back down, dropped. Even though it's below the 50, it's still above 40 for that consolidation period. And now we've had a nice breakout above the 10, and we're heading back up on high volume. So this is definitely a good play going into next week. The momentum is already in place, so you don't have to continue to wait on consolidation. The Bollinger Bands aren't constricting, they're very wide, which means the stock is very volatile right now. So that means there can be very wild swings in the stock. So Right now it's very bullish. Like I said, we're looking at 138, 159, 179. All right, to the next one. Let's talk about LODE, LODE. So let's zoom in a little bit on this one. As you can see, I drew this box right here. So LODE was consolidating. It was in a downtrend. It found support right here on the price action's immediate resistance right now, but found support, had a nice breakthrough, came down, found support again, and then fell through. Worked in this channel, support, broke through, and then immediately buyers came in, bought shares, and pulled it back into this channel. So now we're back in this channel, and our support of 36 or 37, give or take, is holding solid, and now we're pushing this channel to break out. As you can see here, push, we actually broke out here, and then we pulled back just a little bit. Now if you look on the days of accumulation, the volume is high. Nice spike in volume, another one, 2 consistent days of high spikes. On the days of selling, the volume is below average, very low. So the bulls are taking control of this. So once we break out of this channel, which you can also see is correlating with our RSI, which is currently constricting, meaning that the volatility is low and a breakout is pending. Once we break out of this channel, which we will, you can see we're already above that 50-period moving average. So we've already crossed that bullish mark. What we're going to see, as you can see, the 200 period has been a line of resistance, which has been smacking the price back down. So we're going to move up, and we're going to test that 72 cents most definitely. On Monday there may be another slight pullback to the 1 standard deviation top Bollinger Band right at 42, the green line. Once it pulls back to that 42, it'll find support, and then you should see buyers come back in, and we should start working our way from 42 to 72 cents. Again, the RSI is in that bullish range. Like I said, I keep drawing lines every single time. That 80 to 40 range, as we talked about on the last ticker, is in that channel. Nice and smooth, holding on to that 10-period moving average for support. Nice breakout. We made a high. We're coming back down to form a higher low. Should tap that 10-period moving average on the RSI, and then break out to establish another high, which that tap on the 10-period moving average should correlate to this 42 cent touch right here on the 1 standard deviation top Bollinger Band, and then have the breakout, which will be the breakout of this channel, and start working our way towards that 72 cents. All right, moving on. Ticker PGH. All right, so as you can see with ticker PGH, it had a nice run from 53 cents to $1.23. Double topped out right here. Did not break a new high. The RSI also did not break a new high. So you can see if you use to draw a trend line, downtrend, trend line, downtrend. Well, not downtrend, but higher lows, which means that automatically let sellers know that buyers cannot push this high, and then you had this gap down, and then it dropped and had another run up, and now we found support on the 1 standard deviation bottom Bollinger Band, this green one right here. Okay, anytime a stock is below my 1 standard deviation Bollinger Band, the green line right here, which correlates to a kind of like a 10-period moving average, then that stock I do not touch, because it is in the downtrend. As you can see here, below, could not hold, tried to come back above, still below, consolidated on it a little bit, had to break out, came back, found support. So we're still in a bullish state, all right, because we're still holding on to that 1 standard deviation Bollinger Band. Now we have 2 lines of resistance. Matter of fact, all 3 lines of resistance. You have this 50-period moving average trending down, you have the 200-period moving average coming through, and then the 20-period moving average. They're all meeting in this area of 82 to 84 cents. We closed right at 84 cents. So we want to see a breakout above this 20-period moving average and this 200-period moving average. Once we have that breakout, then that leaves room for us to hit these other price targets of 88, 93, and 98, and then work our way back up to fill this gap that we see right here. and the gap correlates to this 93 cents. So the gap runs from 93 to about $1.25. all right, so if we can get in, this is a pretty good entry right here because it's holding right on that 79 cents. So anywhere from 79 cents to 82 cents is a good entry. Ride it out to break above the resistance of 92 to 93 cents. Come up to fill this gap. Excuse me, the gap runs from $1 to $1.25. Run up to try to fill this gap, and then work our way back into this high of $1.20. Again, your RSI is still in a bullish state. If you look, we run it again from that 80 to 40. Let's run it all the way across. So try to get that right in the middle of the 50 line here, 30 line here, 40 right in the middle. All right, so if you see, again, had that run up as it began to came down, it dipped below 40 but came back, found support. Nice consolidation. Again, had to run up on the downtrend, found support on the 40. So the RSI is still in the bullish states, which means the bulls are still in control. So all we need now is this breakout above this 200 period moving average, and we can start retesting at 88, 93, 98, and then working our way into this gap right at a dollar, moving into that $1.20 range. But the RSI right now, as you can see, we had a low, ran up, had a high, came down, had a higher low, which we should see now is a run up to create a higher high, which should correlate to us hitting these price targets on the Bollinger Band. And last but not least, ticker CHF. I talked about this one on Friday. So let's take a quick look. As you can see, the Bollinger Bands as of right now are constricting. They are very tight. Anytime your Bollinger Bands are tight like this, this means the volatility is very low and a breakout is pending right around the corner. Okay, it's kind of like the quiet before the storm. So the bulls are definitely in control. Remember, I told you anytime price action is below my 1 standard deviation bottom Bollinger Band, which kind of acts as a 10 period moving average, then that means the bears are in control. So as you see here, below, drop down, had the gap up, gap down, again another drop, and now as we consolidate, we're consolidating on this bottom Bollinger Band, which is support. As you see, it holds, finally had a run up, and now we're consolidating right on top of the 1 standard deviation top Bollinger Band, the green one, right at 392. So as far as Bollinger Bands, a breakout is pending. And then you can see we have the 50 period moving average right at 447 and the 200 period moving average right at 1098 with a gap right here to fill. Now if we go back and just do pure price action analysis, you can see that we are forming a ascending triangle pattern. As you can see here, clear resistance right at that 409 to 410 range. As you can see, the breakthrough failed again, failed in this area, failed and failed, but right now we're pushing this top area. And then as you can see on days of accumulation, high volume, days of selling, low volume, way below average. Another thing is a divergence. So price made a higher high and then came here, made a higher low, meaning that, let's mark this up a little bit, let's make that white. As you can see here, 447 down to 434. So it made a higher low, but your RSI made a higher high and then a low and then another higher high. So your RSI is making higher highs. So what that is a divergence, a bullish divergence. What does that mean? The RSI measures momentum. So as you can see here, with the volume being higher on the accumulation days, the RSI is already taking that into account, and it's showing that the momentum is shifting into the bull's favor because we're making higher highs. So even though the price action is making higher lows, the RSI is already pre-gaming, telling us that the momentum is shifting into the bull's hands, which correlates to the Bollinger Bands constricting this ascending triangle pattern, and that a breakout is pending right around the corner, which should be this week. Now, once we have that breakout, again, like I said, we have this gap here that needs to be filled, which is a pretty wide gap. Anywhere from this 362 bottom to that 408 resistance is a good entry. Once we have the breakout, we have this gap to fill here. Once we fill that gap, remember the 200 period moving average is right at $10. So I think we'll fill that gap. We'll have the breakout, fill the gap, hit the 200 period moving average, and then probably come back down for some slight consolidation, and then continue to trend up to try to retest that 24 high. But even if you get in right here at $4 and you fill the gap and touch the 200 period moving average, that's about 110% return on your money. So keep an eye on this one come next week. That's it. That's my top 4 for the week. If you learned anything, found anything of value, please subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, give me a thumbs up so that way I know you took something from this video. Subscribe to the Stock Twitch channel, and until next time, let's keep making money together. TTMTrades, I'm out.
Clifton, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.